Should you move out in 2023? What's up guys? My name is Paul. Welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before. Today I'm just gonna run through whether or not I think you should move out. If you're between the age of 18 and 25 and you're struggling with the decision to move out, I'm here to help. I'm here to grant you my experience so far. Although it's very, very fresh, I've only been in this apartment for 3 months and I still have the option to move back home with the folks. Am I gonna do it at the end of the 6 months for a little bit? I guess we'll see. Honestly, I've been trying to not give in to that failsafe, but we'll see how it goes. But for right now, my experience so far, right, has been largely positive. I'm not broke. Well, I still feel broke to be honest, but I'm not broke. I've been able to get by and pay rent and pay my bills. But I've learned that life is very expensive and a constant grind. No surprise, right? But it's true. Going into moving out, back when I lived at home, I wasn't making as much progress in certain things that I wanted to progress in. And part of it was definitely mental health, and my mental health living at home definitely deteriorated. And it wasn't like my parents specifically. My parents are great to me. They're loving and I love them. But it's just that home environment, once I got to a point where I just needed to become my own man. I need my own space, and it was just too much. So I just sent it, and I do have a job that allows me to rent semi-comfortably, so I can't complain too much. But in moving out, I thought that some of the other things that I struggled with would just kind of dissipate because, you know, oh, like I'm responsible for me now. Oh, I can totally control my diet. Oh, I'm not gonna procrastinate anymore. My diet is still half shit and I still procrastinate on things. Hell, I haven't put out a YouTube video in like a month at the time of my recording this, so yeah, there's still a lot I still have to improve on, but now I feel like I have the space to actually improve. Although it's still a slow process, I haven't made as much progress as I would have liked, but I still am making progress. Moving out isn't gonna be the quick fix. You still have to do the work, and whatever it might be to get to where you're trying to go. In moving out, I will say my dating life kind of just took off. I never really put any effort into it seriously when I lived at home. But now that I'm here, the little effort that I have been putting in to like the apps has taken off and I've had some success with it. And that's just something that will come naturally once you're moved out. You can just have the freedom to date. I don't know what your family dynamic is like. I don't know if your folks are gonna be like more traditional, you can't have someone over or what, but that shit just gets a lot easier when you're moved out. But that's probably goes without saying. And then my other experience is kind of personal, but not like super personal, but it just applies to me specifically. I've just noticed that I'm not as into my reptiles. Like behind me are a couple enclosures, my boa and my blue tongue skink. And like this is for me, now that I've had my own space, I've actually been able to kind of just be with my thoughts and just be with myself, and I've realized that I'm just not as into them. Like I'll always love animals. I have a soft spot for wildlife and I love it all, but when I was younger, like I had a goal of just becoming a reptile breeder full time, and now that I'm an adult, I don't really want to do that full time or as much as I wanted to. My goals and priorities have just kind of shifted a little bit. So while I'll probably always have reptiles in my life to some extent, it's just not going to be what I thought it would be. But that's something that I don't know if I would have come to that decision from staying at home. Like now it's just kind of in my face, you know what I mean? Also, moving out isn't as scary as you might think it might be. As long as you have some money saved up and you have a job that can pay rent, even if it's not like a comfortably pay rent, like you'll be okay. As long as you're doing what you have to do to improve in life so you don't stagnate. So that brings me to, should you move out? Honestly, the unsexy answer is it depends on your life circumstance, and only you can answer that question. Ironically enough, the day after I committed to moving out, like literally the day after I signed my lease, CEO of Testosterone, Jack Hopkins, I'll link the video that he put out literally the day after I signed my lease in the description. But in that video, he was talking about how important it is as a man to move out and take responsibility for your life and become your own man and all this stuff. And while I don't disagree with that, I also think that personally, if you can take advantage of the privilege you have to get ahead, you should do it. Honestly, like, I don't see any qualms with that. So, for example, I right now retain the privilege, which I'm grateful for, to move back in with my folks come the end of this lease. If I need to, if I feel like I need to bank up some more money, I could do that. No questions asked, I could do that. If you're living in an environment with your family where your growth isn't like stifled, or you're not stagnating at all and you're still trying to level up and stuff, but you can still level up while living at home, you should do it, honestly, until you bank up enough money to where you're comfortable. Like, if you have that privilege, you should take advantage. But if your folks start to like come down on you and like you feel like your growth isn't going where it needs to go as an individual, honestly, I just think you should take the plunge and rent. Renting versus buying is an entirely different thing. I'm not even gonna really go into that. When I say move out throughout the duration of this video, I'm mostly alluding to renting, because most people, like 9 out of 10 watching this video, I would assume would be renting when they move out. And that's okay. Like, it's not as scary as it sounds. I've grown up with this stigma where like, oh, like if you rent, you're not gonna be able to buy property. It's definitely doable to do both. Like, you can rent for a period of your life and then still buy property when you're ready to settle down. That's where I'm at right now. I always just assumed that I would eventually, go right from living with the folks to house. And just with the way that my life is right now, with like my priorities, I just don't see that happening right now. So that's why I'm gonna rent for a little bit, and it's fine, because you can always make more money. So short answer is, if you have the option to stay with your folks, you should move out only if that environment is stagnating your growth, whether or not it's like your folks or just the environment of living at home, whatever. If that shit is like toxic to you, your mental health isn't the best, moving out will help, but you still have to put in the work to improve. Otherwise, if your home environment isn't congruent with your own self-development, it's time to just pull the trigger and go. The generic number is like 10 or 20K in your savings before you move out. Obviously, not everyone has the luxury to just bank that up before you do it, but it is recommended. Like, I did that myself. So yeah, there you go. That's my take on it. I hope you found some value in this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one.